Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on InRangeTV. A couple months ago, in April, we decided to make an experiment with InRangeTV. We kind of want this channel to be at the forefront of especially digital rights issues, and online video issues, and so we decided to proactively remove all the monetization from our YouTube videos and move instead to an entirely user-supported, user-funded model. And when we did that, we said we were going to come back in August and assess how that experiment went and decide how we were going to proceed from that point. Well, it's now August, so it's time to reassess.
It's mid-August right now. By the time you see this, will be probably near the end of August or whenever we release it. However, in that short duration of time, the goal here was to prove or put the customer, the viewer, back into the control of what the content should be.
Right. There's a saying that if you're not the customer, you are the product. If you're not paying for a service online, your personal data and your eyeballs are in fact the product that are being sold to someone else.
So when we looked at that model, the AdSense model in general, so what they do is they take your video and associate it with some sort of commercial, and that's monetizing your content, and then they pay you for the amount of views you get.
Right.
That means in that model, the consumer or the customer is actually not you, the viewer, not the channel. The actual customer is AdSense, or the people placing ads with AdSense.
Right.
So you are therefore the product, and we are nothing more than middlemen providing some sort of thing to get your eyeballs to look at their garbage.
Yes.
And so we decided their garbage wasn't worth looking at, for one, and a lot of it was promoting old media content or old media concepts and allowing the old media to try to attempt to usurp new media. New media being social media, YouTube, the kind of stuff that we're able to do with InRangeTV that we would not have been able to do 10 years ago.
Right.
The old media doesn't like that, and we are seeing an ever-increasing encroachment into the new media by them with all sorts of interesting mechanisms and methods.
So it used to be early on that this thing, YouTube and Google, their ability to buy advertisements was really quite minor in the grand scheme of things, and it didn't have an impact on, for example, giant cable or television broadcast networks. That's changed. YouTube and Google are now a massive supplier of advertising time, to the point that there really is a finite number of advertisements out there that are being purchased by companies large and small. And if YouTube buys up, let's say, 50% of them, that's 50% of the market that cannot go to television. The television companies, as a general rule, have a lot more money and a lot more at stake in this than little upstart online companies. And they're not happy with seeing all of this ad revenue disappear from their bank accounts and go to Google's.
I would say it's not only ad revenue, to add to that, it's actually also control.
Yeah.
So the old media and the mechanisms of the old media, whether it's print or TV, control eyeballs and control the general narrative about what you should think or see or believe, because let's be honest, you watch enough of the stuff long enough, you start to believe it whether or not it's true or false.
That's true.
And so the diversity of opinions and views that occur on the internet.
The medium is the message.
The medium is the message, and they will control that message. And unfortunately, as much as any of us think we're free thinkers, when you have enough stuff beat into you long enough, it's hard to avert your brain waves from that constant stream of data.
Yeah.
And if they control the data stream, they control the narrative, they control the narrative, they control what most of society will believe.
Right.
So the internet's shattered that concept, and things like InRangeTV and many others who actually have much more controversial content have a voice on the internet that would not be there otherwise.
Right.
So we returned the control back to you, the viewer, by going to a completely viewer-supported model, i.e. via Patreon. And by putting our faith in that, we have come to find that it's there.
Absolutely.
You guys have made it real. There's a belief from at least a part of the core audience, by the way, a very small percentage when you actually look at the total number of subscribers. Not unusual, a small percentage will float it for the rest, and that's acceptable, and we understand that. And you guys have come through, and you have kept InRangeTV alive as a result. Really beyond
anything we had hoped for or expected.
Yep. And so for that, we are thankful. And now that it's August, we want to go ahead and give you this update, and we've gone one step further. We're not only going to not remonetize any videos, actually I went through and actively disabled and destroyed our AdSense account.
You just like went in and whacked it with a hatchet.
In fact, I'm going to put that at the end of the video here. You can see actually me going through the machinations of turning off AdSense and getting some emails from Google saying, my God, do you realize you can't monetize your videos anymore? And I'm like, yes, thank you very much. In fact, that's the goal. So we actually have turned off AdSense. There's no going back now. We're not getting a new AdSense account. The content on YouTube is demonetized and cannot be monetized.
Yep.
At least if they monetize it, you know darn well that they're doing it for their own interests, not for ours. So you should not be seeing ads on any more of that content, and they will not be remonetizing any more videos further.
It'd, in fact, be very interesting to hear if you do see ads on InRangeTV videos after you see this, because that would be interesting.
It would be interesting. Yeah. And so one of the things that's going on in digital rights and YouTube land and advertising money is they are demonetizing large swaths of content, whether it's controversial or not. And they're using that demonetization as a weapon, as we said in the first video, as a way to control the narrative. If you can't make money doing this content, I'm sorry to break it to you, the reality is it's very hard for people to do this for free.
Yeah.
And if you're not being able to at least recoup your costs or do better than that in an endeavor such as this, you will probably wither up and die and go away. Which I think, in my opinion, is their goal.
Okay.
I don't know if it is or is not. You could think that it's nothing more than political correctness gone amok.
Yep.
Or you could look at it as the old media trying to assert control, or somewhere in between.
Yeah, there's evidence for all three. So kind of take your pick, and from someone looking for actual practical advice on how to go forward, it doesn't really make a difference which of those explanations is true.
You know,
the end result's the same.
I thought about that, and this is the same concept of, if it's a black boot or a brown boot on your throat, it's a boot on your throat. And so what we're doing with InRangeTV is we're going to go ahead and expand this concept of decentralization. Our content is on Facebook. All of these things have their own insidious problems. When I say Facebook, we go, oh, I don't do Facebook. I get it. I understand. But these are the tools that are there for us to reach you, the viewer. And we're going to use the tools the best way we can use them without letting them leverage them against us.
Right.
So by demonetizing our content on YouTube, but still using YouTube, well, my goodness, I'm burning their bits, but not making them money.
They just become a free content hosting service.
Thanks, Content Delivery Network, right? Do the same thing with Facebook. Put the stuff up there. Maybe Facebook has done things we're not happy with. I understand, but you know what? There's people there. It allows us to reach out and have a message. People view it. Very specifically looking at one called minds.com. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of faith in where they're going, but they're not quite there yet. So you're going to see our data or our stuff, our message being distributed not only Full30, which has been around for a while now, Facebook and YouTube, but you're going to see me looking deeply into Minds.com. Minds.com has what appears to be the right terms of service concept going forward. They're trying to be a free speech social network. Now, within reason, they don't want to allow illegal activity. I get that. They have to stay alive.
Yep.
And they are starting, just now, launching their own Patreon equivalent.
Okay.
Now, I have not started doing that with the InRange channel. I've played with Minds.com a little bit. It's technologically a little challenging because they don't have a scheduler. They don't deal with video very well. But they also have this now Patreon alternative coming that may even at some point accept cryptocurrency, which is another conversation to be had.
That's one thing that we really do want to add is the ability to accept Bitcoin.
So what I want to say is this, bear with us. I'm not going to go chase every truck that drives down the street that potentially solves the problem because there's a couple things going on in the internet world that may address this problem, but you're going to see us constantly pushing forward, not only in 2017 and 2018, decentralizing the distribution of our content and providing alternatives for you to support us, whether it's through a Patreon, which has been very successful, whether or not you like that or not. PayPal directly, if you want to do that, that's acceptable.
Sure.
Maybe Minds.com and their Patreon equivalent. We're going to have increased efforts on merchandising.
Yeah, in fact, we planned that out brilliantly here by wearing both someone else's merchandise.
Yeah, you know what? This is another channel, See an Arsenal. If you like what you see from certain channels that are different from the rest, we urge you to support them even if it's not InRangeTV because that's how the new media is going to succeed.
Yep.
But that's our update for today. AdSense has been disabled. Google's panicking and sending me emails saying, why have you turned off your AdSense? I'm laughing at them. And we're making a video today updating to you that the continued message from InRangeTV is don't trust the old media. Decentralization is the answer. And direct support from viewers like you is going to be what allows us and others to continue to provide you content that you want to see.
Yep. Now, I want to clarify one thing, because if I don't, people are going to misunderstand it.
Understood.
I have not demonetized Forgotten Weapons on YouTube. I've left it there because, frankly, I have a little more overhead for that show than we do with InRangeTV. I have gotten a tremendous response on Patreon, just like InRangeTV has, and I am extremely grateful to everyone who supports that channel specifically on, through Patreon. What it has allowed me to do is not really care about YouTube and Google's ongoing shenanigans.
So while you're still taking monetization on Forgotten Weapons from YouTube, the reality is you are not subjected to their shenanigans when they play it.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
I don't care about trying to make every video clickbaity anymore. Even literally the couple days right before we filmed this, they're introducing yet more new weirdness about demonetizing some videos and how they review them. And what Patreon has allowed me to do is not be dependent on that. So I will take their money for as long as it's out there to take. I would certainly encourage people, if you don't want to support that, use an ad blocker on YouTube. There are plenty of ways. If you don't want to see ads, but you want to support creators on YouTube, use something like YouTube Red, their subscription service, where you're going to pay a monthly fee, but then you see no advertisements, and part of that fee does go to creators, and those include people like me with monetized YouTube accounts. So there are options out there. I figured, you know what, I'm not quite as devoted to the being the tip of the spear on this on Forgotten Weapons. I'm going to take their money while I still can. But I really like the idea of having InRangeTV be that tip of the spear and push forward in ways of figuring out how we can make this work better for content creators instead of better for basically large advertising aggregators.
And I think that's a valuable message to bring. There's a little bit, not I would say difference of opinion, a difference of strategy between this in this regard.
Yeah.
InRangeTV and Forgotten Weapons are completely funded separately. So please, I know some people conflagate the two, and I can see why, but they are separate projects. And so in that regard, the InRangeTV being a little bit more of my philosophy in that regard, which is fine.
Yeah.
Taking a much more aggressive stance on this. It's a hacker ethos, and it's more of this. And I think that that's a good thing. And hopefully we will, not just us, others, will blaze a trail. Not only InRange, don't get me wrong, but willing to bite the hand that feeds InRangeTV and put the faith in other places will be maybe a guiding light for other people who are on the edge and may want to not be as subjected to the old mass media methods.
Yep,
So
exactly.
That's why you see this difference. Thanks for paying attention to this. Thank you for helping out. Thank you for supporting both the channels, regardless of if it's InRangeTV or Forgotten Weapons or both. And you are the reason that we're able to do this. And you are going to ultimately be the people that decide what kind of content you're going to be able to see on the internet. Because if you don't take control of it yourselves, they will control it for you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.